Hello, hello, hello. We are live. And how are you out there, all of you wonderful people? Welcome to Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, let's chat. And I'm telling you, this is going to be some chat tonight. We are so excited about this topic. Me and my daughter are going to chew this up, break it down, digest it, bring it back up, and spit it out. We're going to get our thing going today on our first Relationship Tuesday. We welcome you. Once again, my name is Sheila Ingram, and you have tuned into Bravo with Sheila. Those of you that will see this later, we welcome you and hope that this information and all of the topics that come from this platform will enrich you, enlighten you. We bring you spirituality. We bring you uplifting, encouragement. Listen, we're just here to help you move from pain to power and from power to victory. Not saying that everybody's in pain, but listen, we're going to the victory mark. You know, everybody's going through something. And so we're excited about Relationship Tuesday. And this is the first night that we're kicking it off. This topic will go well into the new year because it is so much to break down. It is so much. My guest, my daughter, is backstage in the green room, waiting to come on front to see you guys. And so I see someone is here already. I don't know who is here. You didn't say anything in the comment, but we got a viewer already. So let me just bring Pache, Coach Pache, up. And here she is. There she is. Bravo to Coach Pache. And we are happy. Oh, Antoinette Saunders is on. It's me, Ann. Hi, how you doing? We're so happy. You are always a supporter, and we're happy that you're here. We're excited about this conversation. We want to get into it, but before we do that, we just want to do a little backdrop about what. Let's put her high up. She says, hi, hello. There she is with a cute self. There's that cute face. Yes, yes, yes. And then she says, it's me, Ann, and we're welcoming you, Ann. Thank you so much for being here. We love you so much. Let me put up our banner for this evening. And we are talking about relationships, and it's Relationship Tuesday. We have a couple of other viewers that are on. Now, listen, all you ladies, all you wonderful people, I want you in the chat. This is called Bravo with Sheila. Ladies, let's chat. What I say? I heard you. You said chat. Yes, it's let's chat. And so tonight, we really want to just get into this. We want to talk about some things. We want to open it up. Now, Pache and I was talking off camera, and we said it's impossible, absolutely impossible to talk about this topic in 1, 2, 3 settings. That's why Pache thought of this Relationship Tuesday, so we can move this thing. It's going to go well into the new year because we have to hit this thing in the box, outside of the box. You know, I love the fact that on this platform, we can talk about anything. We are women, and we need to speak and talk about so many different things to help us have a platform, to have a voice. And even though I'm a believer, Pache's a believer, life is life. Whether you're a believer or you're not a believer, a woman is a woman, right? And so we're not going to get religious on you, but we are believers. So let's get that straight up front. But we have not been a believer all of our lives. And we've been in some relationships that were toxic. We've been in that part. And so we want to talk about this topic. And so I'd like to open up by talking. I see we have some other viewers on. They haven't said anything in the chat yet. Maybe they'll pop on. But again, this is not an interview. This is a chat. And so just come on, believers. Yes, that's right. That's what Ann says. She says, come on, believers. Yes, yes, yes. We got that balance now. Not saying you guys who aren't believers don't have a balance, but we need to have a conversation with different views. That's why I want you to chat. I want you to pop in on the chat, and you don't have to expose yourself. You don't have to share anything that you might feel ashamed of or embarrassed of because it's public. Hey, we got Minister Diane Bailey in the house. You do not you do not have to share things that will expose you. We just want to chat. We want you to help. You'd be surprised how many people you can help by just saying a comment or sharing about something you experienced or lesson learned, right? And so it's ladies, let's chat. We are not just sitting here doing things, just me and Pache. We want this conversation to go on well into the new year. So Pache and I was talking off camera, and we were saying, oh my goodness, where do we start? I said, okay, let's start with the foundational pieces about love. Let's start with understanding the different examples or definitions of love. And so I want to get into this real quick, and then we're going to move on. Pache has some wonderful, we both just going to be back and forth, back and forth. And again, please chat with us, share something, share your thoughts. Don't be afraid to put a comment. Remember, this is the no judgment zone. The no judgment zone. So before we do that, you know what I got to do. You know what I got to do. Come on. I got to give you a bravo. Bravo. Take that right hand, that left hand, place it on your heart, your mind, your soul, and give yourself, yeah. Give yourself a bravo just because. Just because, and you do not need permission. You do not need permission. Just because. Encourage yourself. Give yourself self-affirmations, right? Okay, listen. Let's talk about this beginning of our relationship Tuesday. And we're really excited about it because we have to dive deep into this topic. And we want to talk about so many things in the coming future. But let's talk about the four kind of loves real quick. Let's just jump right into this. The four kind of loves is the eros, the agape, and the phileo, and the storge. I'm sure some of you may know, some of you may not. And for the sake of all of us, let's just give a quick review of it. The eros, a love felt particularly within the body. It's the trembling and the excitement. Ooh, the elation, the joy. That's the eros from a natural sexual urges and lusts, because eros is a state of the heart. And while it is intimately related to sex, sex can exist and often does, but not always. Not always. That eros, that sultry, that sexy type of connection. And it's amazing. People say a lot of times, you can't explain love. There is no definition of love. And people say that a lot because people experience love on different levels and to their own understanding. Right, Pache?
Yes.
It leads to children loving the eros kind of love to your family, your children, the joy. It is good and right. But it is usually, here we go. It is usually not enough to sustain a relationship long term. I think I need to say that again. It cannot and usually does not sustain a relationship long term. Why? I'm glad you asked me, because you need to be compatible in more ways just than sex or the eros kind of love. There has to be compatibility. There has to be a list and a coming together when two people. It's not always a church go, and then y'all in love. And no, it won't last. You got to have common ground in so many ways. All right, the phileo love. The phileo, it's that word is beginning of Philadelphia. Phileo, brotherly love. Phileo. If eros is the love of the body, phileo is the love of the soul. It is easy love and affection. It is bent towards our natural tastes and preferences. God is said to have this kind of love for us, right? And so the phileo love, when you say love from the soul, now a lot of stuff can jump off from your soulish nature, right? The soul is the place that it drives you kind of crazy, right? The soul is the place that you try to get away from, because the soul reminds you of what you did yesterday, what you didn't do right. It always trying to speak. That's why you have to push those thoughts out of your mind, because phileo is the brotherly love. It's a wonderful love. I love a lot of my sister friends or whatever. So it's different from the eros love. However, it is also described as a negative, shallow love. See? So you know what? And I guess as I'm saying it comes from where you have to measure where the person is within themselves. right? Because if a person is kind of messed up in a sense in their soulish nature, then what good, how
Right.
much good, it'll be conflicting with the eros, it'll conflict with the agape. So the soulish nature, that's that Adamic, those of you who are believers, the Adamic kind of love, the Adamic nature, right? The first father, we're not going into that, but that soulish love. The next one is the agape. This is the one we struggle for to get to every day of our lives. It's more of a parental, mature, sacrificial kind of love. I can just say that and park right there. It's sacrificial love. It's not you talked about me yesterday and I hate you tomorrow when you just told me you loved me yesterday. You ever seen somebody and you didn't happen to see them and they say, I don't even want to talk to her no more. And people say, why? They said, because she saw me and didn't even speak to me. Well, I thought you said this is one of your sisters you love. Look, that's out the window. Out the window. What kind of love is that? Right? But the agape love is the forgiving love. The agape love, it challenges us. It challenges us to love who wrongs us. It challenges us to take, what we don't like and use the God kind of love. That's why you hear people say, oh, I love you, but I love you with the love of the Lord. And, it's kind of safe to say that because sometimes you don't want their kind of love, right? Because people got different definitions of love. The agape love, that's a wonderful love. This is the love that God has for us, which inspired him to sacrifice his son and for his son to obey and sacrifice himself. It is the kind of love we are commanded to have for one another. It is a love of supreme greatness. That's the three that I want to park in. I don't want to go to the rest of them, but those, we wanted to give that backdrop about the phileo, the agape, and the eros, right? And agape, but note that the agape kind of love is the glue. It is the glue. It's the glue that holds the other loves fast and gives us the wisdom and patience when others fail to love us. That's the struggle. So that backdrop of the different versatilities of love, the phileo, the eros, and the agape, sets the tone for what we're going to be talking about for the next coming weeks. Pache and I decided not to put a cap on it because this topic is going to open up. Listen, if we got believers on here who don't have an open mind, I suggest when we get to those places that you can tune off, because we have to go outside of the box because people are dealing with different struggles. And I've had many people in counseling sessions that are believers that say they're in love with two people. I said that. Facts. Yep. How y'all say? That part. I'm not that old. I can get into it. So now Pache is going to tell you some wonderful, wonderful 7
Stages.
stages.
So I'll be quick. So hello out there.
Don't be quick. Do your thing.
I'm not going to be quick. Well, just to piggyback on what Sheila, should I say Sheila, mother, has said, there are 7 stages of love. One is attraction. You have, and the attraction part of it is that when you first see somebody and you have an interest in that person, so you're attracted to them, you're naturally attracted to them. The second one is infatuation. So infatuation is that intense, like I really think about this person all the time, all day, all night, but it's an infatuation. It's short-lived. Then we have love, what we're talking about. And that's a deep, intense feeling. When you love somebody and you get that feeling and you get the butterflies in your stomach and it's like, oh, here he comes, or oh, here she comes. That's that love. You get that bubbly feeling in your stomach. Then we have trust. And trust is important in a relationship because it's a belief system. And within that belief system, you're believing that you can trust your partner with your deepest secrets. And within that, if you have a falling out, your secrets won't be told. So that's, yeah.
You hope.
They won't expose you, right? You hope they won't expose you. Right. So the next one would be worship, in the sense of reverencing and respecting your partner. It's the adoration, which is a deep love.
That's dangerous, though.
No, it's
It
dangerous,
can be
but it's
dangerous if we use the word worship.
that's why I said reverence or adoration, the deep love and respect.
Yeah.
It's you have a love deep enough to respect that person, not to violate that person.
Yeah.
Worship in a sense as you're worshiping God.
No.
Not in that sense. I'm not
No.
saying that.
That's
That's not
trouble.
right, yeah. And then there's madness. Can
Okay.
you be can you still maintain your relationship with your partner in the madness? Because let's be for real, it's gonna be good days and there's gonna be bad days. How do you find a common ground to work
Mm.
those things out? And the last one is death, and we know that's the end.
Mm.
So
Death
how
of
do
the
you
relationship,
right, death of a relationship when you part, how do you deal with that?
whether it's uh amicable or divorce or death itself or volatile
Right. You
or
still
abusive.
it's still a stage that you have to deal with because that stage of love has now been broken.
Yeah, but let's park there for a second. So the ending of love sometimes, um, let's talk about a woman who loves a man
Hmm.
who is abusive, right? But is in love with a person who's totally opposite. And she's trapped inside of this situation. She wants to be free because the real love is really over here on the right. But the love she think is love is the dysfunctional love.
Hmm.
There's so many women who God sends that person along to rescue them, for lack of a better term, from this abusive relationship because of the mindset and because of how they internalize love. They say a lot say, but he loves me. What do you think about that?
I've never been in that situation.
Right.
Can say that I believe a lot of it stems from what they saw growing up
Maybe.
because everybody's definition of love is different.
Maybe. Yeah.
And a lot of times we learn in the household first what
Yeah.
love should be.
Yes.
It gives you your idea of
Of
what
what
you
love
think
is,
love is.
or you see it on TV.
Or you see it on TV. So if you see your mom abused constantly, but she stays with the boyfriend or she stays with the husband, and you grow up in that, that becomes your norm. And then,
Or, yeah, that's true. That's true. Or
mhm,
women have low self-esteem
and
where
that
they
comes
might have
from
come
yeah,
from a household that was wonderful, but
mhm.
within themselves, they have a low feeling about themselves. I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. All these things, what you're saying and what we're saying now, draws people to different affections that they might
Absolutely.
think is love. Oh, I'm not beautiful enough. And someone comes along and says, oh, you're beautiful. You're beautiful. And first time she's hearing it, she's like, oh, so she accepts whatever that person feeds her because
Mhm,
that emotional part of her. These are what we're talking about is how you get tangled up
mhm.
in loving two people at the same time or what you perceive to be love.
Well, I can't say not always the case because
Mm-hmm.
what happens when you meet someone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the attraction, the infatuation stage. You move past that because you realize it's not infatuation, and you fall in love with that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you guys connect on every level,
Okay.
mentally, physically, emotionally, every level. Every
Okay.
level. You can totally be transparent with one another, and that's it.
Okay.
However, 3 or 4 months into the relationship, now
Bring it
you're already
on.
in love with this person.
Bring it on.
3 or 4 months into this relationship, he or she tells you, I have somebody else.
Mm.
What, okay? Now they're
Mm-hmm.
telling you that your feelings are already involved. You're already in love with this person. Remember, you're not infatuated anymore. You're
Right.
in love with this person. He's
Right.
in love with you, but now he's stuck,
Mm-hmm. Or vice versa.
or vice versa. So now you in this triangle.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
For
how do you
sure.
get out of now? How do you get out of that? Because now you're invested, and it's not even sexual. It's
Because there's
so
different,
people,
then now you're opening up different ways that love happens, right? Because
right?
you ever heard women say they're having a relationship with someone else, and they're married or whatever, and they're telling their husband, but we've never been intimate. But they fell in love with them emotionally.
And I think that's the worst kind.
Mm.
That's
But
just
that
my
means,
opinion.
yeah.
I think that's honestly the worst kind.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, if you're in a relationship just for sex, you know what that is. It's no
Well,
strings
well,
attached.
that's lust.
Right, that's lust. But
Right.
some people will confuse the two as love. When they, it's lust, we doing this, whatever. That's that. But
Well,
when
if
you
you
have,
identify, some women already know why they're doing something. They say,
right,
we're just doing this, blah, 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 no strings attached. I forgot the term most people say now, what you call it?
what?
Uh,
Friends with
uh,
benefits?
Friends with benefits. Yes. Where where's no string, things have changed so much, right? Not that I'm super old, but I am getting there in number, not in motion and in my mind. But when you think about the number, I've lived through so many different seasons of things. And so friends with benefits, yes, they know that that's just a booty call. They
Right.
know that, so their emotions don't get, but
Not
there are a lot
attached.
of women who cannot handle that type of relationship because their emotions get, they don't know how to separate.
I'm going to jump in on that part
Go
because
ahead.
women say they can. We can't do what men do. Bottom line. You can say you can get into this and it's just friends with benefits and all that. And next thing you know, you're acting crazy. And he looking at you like, well, what just happened? Because we had an agreement.
Fatal attraction.
And then she unspiraled out of control, thinking she can do what the man can do. However, that's another subject, another
Because women
topic,
are
because they're
emotional and
emotional.
men are logical.
Right. And men deposit,
Hmm.
women receive. But
Right.
that's a whole,
That's down the road.
yeah, that's down the road somewhere. But yeah, when I getting back to that whole triangle is it's difficult because now it's emotional. So now
Yeah.
you're dealing with all these feelings. And it's a genuine love, it's a deep affection.
Okay. So check this out. You can absolutely fall in love with two people at the same time. A second person might make you feel safe, loved, and deeply connected. And you'll also fall for that person when you're in this two relationship type thing. But then it says suddenly your brain is cranking out dopamine for both of them. And because they make you feel special and loved in different ways, the different ways. So I've had people come into sessions and say, well, I really love my husband. I really blah, 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 but I'm so connected to this guy. And well, what's the difference? What does he give you that he doesn't give you? And she says, well, he feeds my intellect. My
Right.
husband doesn't, and that's important to me. Someone that can talk to me and we have deep conversations. People think that that's not a big deal, but it is for women
It
who are
is.
wired like that. So once that lacking is there, and you find, that's why I said you have to be compatible in so many ways when you're getting married. Everyone's not going to be your all in all, but there has to be some type of checklist for not just married, but a relationship. Because what's important to you eventually, if you compromise it, you're going to run into a wall because you want it, you need it, you have needs and you have wants.
Right. And I would say that's very true because what happens is when you do fall in love with two different people, and you already touched upon it, is it's that other person is feeling that need that the
Yes.
other person is not giving you.
Yes.
So
That's
you
like a
go and you find it somewhere else, which you shouldn't.
But remember,
It
you're
happens.
wired. And see,
Right.
this goes to the temperament, your needs and your wants, your strengths and your weaknesses. We have no control how we're wired. God wired us. Those of us who are believers know in Psalm 139, it talks about how we're fearfully and wonderfully made, and that He made us in the womb of our mothers, and that we were, the woving of all of these wonderful things, how God created us. And so the needs and the wants is already in us. And so and as far as school is concerned, in my learnings, it says they're going to be met one way or the other, in
Right.
a godly way or an ungodly way.
That's why you find women or even men, they have a, they call it the work husband or
The
the work wife. Because you're getting, because that work wife or that work husband is feeling that need that you're
yeah,
not getting at home.
yeah. Those are some
And
dangerous
that's
pockets.
right. And that's how that thing forms. And before you know it, it's like, how did I even get here? All we did was go to lunch.
Yeah, here's a perfect one. The water fountain at work, or the kitchen making your coffee at work. And
Right.
you go in as a female, and I mean, you dressed every to the nine every day because you like to dress, or maybe you're not, whatever. But this person that's in your workplace always notices you. Now you just left your husband.
But he not paying you no mind.
He not paying no attention to you. And again, if men don't understand how we're wired, one compliment will set the whole evening, right? It's not hard to figure us out. And so you go and you're in the, and he says, "Oh, you look so nice today. Oh my God. And that sweater you had on yesterday was beautiful." The first thing a woman do is like, "Oh, thank you.
Right.
Thank you."
And within that, that's why it's important for everyone to know their love language. So
Let's
when
not
you
go
do,
there, Park. Don't go there yet. You know what? Go there. No, go there.
because
Go
you
there.
have to know your love languages when you get into these relationships.
Listen, wait a minute. Before we go any further, I hope y'all got your cool beverage. You know, I got my little ice black raspberry here. You can't come to the Bravo platform without your cool beverage. Now, some of you had some cocktails the other night. No judgment here, but you got to get your cool beverage because this is getting deep and it's getting hot in here. Let's go, Pache.
Yeah, so it's important to know your love language. So even so, say if you didn't know them and you're starting to discover them,
Hmm.
that's the time you need to have them with your husband or your partner.
So that's something your husband and your mate should know before you even get
Yeah.
together, right?
But if you have two people that's come together and they don't know who they are,
They skip over that part.
that's my point. That's why I said you got, once you figure it out what it is, then you have the conversation. But before you get into a relationship or get deep into it, that's something that needs to be talked about because it
Right.
sets the tone and it sets the foundation.
True, because everyone has you know, and I read an article one time. It says, well, how can two people be together if his love language is this and her love language is that? So her love language is gifts, right? His love language is affirmations, and because she's a material and she don't really have that emotional connection on that level,
Mhm.
she just misses the whole point that he needs affirmation. He
But
needs to
she's like,
hear.
I bought you something.
He's like, I bought. He's
Like, but I don't want that.
like, I bought you
Hug.
that cologne you wanted.
I
He's
want a
like,
hug.
I want to hug. I want to cuddle. Like, you know,
Right.
we've been married like 8 years and you don't even know.
Right.
You can't skip over these pieces. We cannot. And a lot of times I found that a lot of people, I'll say some of our inner city women, right, don't have a clue what a love language is.
I didn't for
I'm
years.
saying, no, I'm saying that, right. You find out later, or
After you've been smacked up your head a couple of times, you got to figure it out. So you're
so
trying to get yourself together for the right one. So at least
right.
now we know this, that, this, that.
So it's good to know these things because if you come and I'll use myself for example, and you all over me, constantly all over me, it's gonna get on my nerves,
Right.
right? You know, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. But
Right.
if you smother me, it becomes too much,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you take me out to dine in this wonderful, beautiful restaurant, and we're looking and the light is nice and light, I mean, dark and
Mm-hmm.
ooh, nice little corner, that's it. Like for, oh, yes, this is it. But if you all over me all the time, it's a problem. And so how can you know, like that's not fair to the other person if that's not communicated because
Right.
that person is touchy feely, touchy feely, touchy
That's what they
feely.
need.
One woman said, my husband loved me, touched me so much that I have to run from the couch. Like he always wants to cuddle, 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 cuddle. And she says, oh my God. She said, we had a big argument about that because that's his thing. So you have to find the balance, right? Because these things that we're talking about causes women and men to run to
Mhm.
other people.
And if there's something else I wrote down
Go ahead.
within the realm of love, and
Mm-hmm.
it says the love you give and receive is the reflection of who you are.
Say that again.
The love you give and want to receive is a reflection of who you are. So you give what you want, you put it out there. And
Mm.
what we don't realize a lot of times, what we're looking for is already in us. That's why we're able to give it.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, it says you are the love you want, the love you need, and the love you seek. That's why, again, you're able to give it. So when you connect and you get caught up in this triangle, maybe
Mm.
you're giving this and you're giving this, and maybe that person needs it and they're giving it back to you. So we get what we put out there.
Right.
So if you're constantly a loving person,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't even realize that the other person is taking it that way because that's just the way you are. So
Right.
you can be your authentic self and
Right.
just give love and help and do this and do that. And another person be like, oh, no, but that's who I am. That's the way I'm wired. So I'm able to give it.
Right.
And that's what the attraction is. You start attracting those things.
Well, what happens when that's not recognized?
On
And
whose part?
say the woman is this giving person, is just this genuine, authentic person, and their mate don't have a clue of the in-depth person of who they really are.
Well, that's the danger zone. It goes back to what we said a few minutes ago. You need to know who you're getting in a relationship with.
But people find that out down the road. Like you think you know someone because we're always learning about someone. You never really know someone if you don't spend time with someone. Another thing that happens in relationships with women is that you don't become friends first.
Right.
Friendship, the foundation has to be friendship first. And I've
Absolutely.
told many, many young girls and women and older women, not putting an age on it, that, because women are so emotional that anything can draw them in that sounds beautiful. I mean, think about Adam and Eve. Eve was in the garden, and God put everything in the garden for us, the flowers. When we came on the scene, everything was set. So we are attracted to beauty. We are, some women use that excuse to go shopping. They say, well, God just put everything there for us. So, that's why I shop. And, but,
Okay.
hold on. Let's see what some people are saying in the chat. Uh-huh. I know that's right. Mm-hmm. Come on, ladies. I know you're in the chat. We need you to participate with this conversation. Antoinette said facts, 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 facts. So
So
go ahead.
here's something I want to say. Here's the thing. So you talk about the beginning and women and getting into relationships and they have to be friends first.
Yeah.
But if that's not taught to you,
Well, we understand.
life has
That's
been trial and
understandable.
error, right? And it's been
Yeah.
trial and error. You learn those things down the line.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, absolutely. But you do change and you do seek to find out different things. Hopefully, after, like you said, a lot of different knocks in the head and different
Right.
relationship, toxic things, what sometimes women are driven backwards instead of forward when they've had bad relationships or they find themselves in a triangle. They don't know how to forgive themselves. There's all types of emotional things that block women from getting to that place called there. And so when you're not taught and you don't understand, what it is you need to be doing, the foundation is friendship first, but
Absolutely.
but a lot of women, whether it's you're taught in, whether you were raised in the hood and the suburbs or whatever, we're not even putting a finger on a location or a destination. We're talking about women all over the world that jump past go where the foundational friendship, and what happens is women talk a lot. So women go on dates and they have a wonderful night out and they're chatting and they're talking, and the woman is the one that's usually da 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 da. By the end of the evening, that person knows almost everything that happened to that woman.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time that person speaks to you again, he knows just what to say to you. You've told him your life, you've told him your weaknesses, you told him what happened to you, you told him about you. In one date, the first date.
Mm-hmm.
So a man does not have to really get to know you because you told him everything. So men that have wrong intentions can easily pick any of those things to elaborate on, and you on the phone say, "Oh, he really understands me. Oh, he really know." Well, you told him. He don't know you.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes we have to let things. We have to just settle, and we have to, I can't say have to, can't use that word. It would be nice if we just don't say as much as at one time when we're getting to know someone. Because if the man's intentions are not pure at heart, then women, because we're emotional, they know what to say in our ear. So the conversation and the whole situation changes into, if it's a lust thing that he's after, you got to try, men, you got to try, these situations that we get ourselves into, and don't skip over the foundational friendship, what back in the day our parents would say, courting us.
Right.
You have to court my daughter.
Right.
You got to pick up your grandmother used to say, he got to come to the door and get you, Sheila. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, huh? He got to come upstairs, knock on the door, I got to look in his eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He got to court you. But those principles and things, it meant a lot. But so many things have become so loose now. And so our young girls, today's society with young girls, and they so in love, and they don't even know, like you said, they don't know what it is.
Right.
So it's a whole lot of tweaking. And that's why I said this topic has to be talked about for a long time. It's so many pieces to this. Can I love two people at the same time? People are in love, so they think, and they love one person, but they're in lust with the other one, but they say, I love both of them.
Mm-hmm.
They don't
And
know the difference sometimes.
they don't. And then sometimes it is possibly true to love two people at the same time, because both of them can be feeling the need. You may
Yes.
be getting this from this person
Yes.
and getting this from this person. So yes,
Yes.
I love her and I love her. And here's the
Yes.
thing: there's no, and us as women, we take it personal. The thing is, it's no reflection of who we are. It's just that your mate has connected with somebody else on a
That's,
different level. It
yeah.
doesn't it doesn't say that he doesn't love you, and it doesn't reflect the woman that you are, because
Yeah.
where he's
Yeah.
at,
But this is that give and take thing. That's
it's
that
the
give.
give and take. But we can't take it personal.
But how can you not take it personal? You're a woman. You're going to take it personal. It's no way you can't take it personal because you're in love with this person. Say he's your husband, your boyfriend, your date,
Well,
whatever. The
not
words that,
personal. It's not a reflection of you. It's not a
well,
reflection of who you are, and you're not giving him what he needs.
well, a woman has
Well,
to be able
you are
to
not giving.
internalize that, because women
Right.
don't first get to that point that they're going to put it on them first, because that's how,
We're white.
they're going to put it here first. Let's see what Antoinette said. The real deal shows up later, and sometimes it's too late. Absolutely. Then Antoinette says they can play on those vulnerabilities. That's what we was
Oh
talking
yeah. When you
about
tell too much.
dating. When you talk too much, I always tell women, don't talk so much. Just let him try to dig. Make him work. Make
Mhm.
him show that he really cares about you. Let you see if his intentions are good. Leslie says, yes, ladies. Welcome, Leslie. She says, let's see what Antoinette says. A lot of times men send their representatives. Yes, ma'am.
And I
Um,
could say even to that, that goes both ways.
yeah, yeah.
Because women
And
don't
she
always show up their authentic selves as well.
that, well, yeah, I mean, it depends on the people you're dealing with and what each
Hmm.
person is looking for. I definitely learned through trial and error. I think we all
Yeah, I
have.
think we all have. You're
I
not
think,
alone.
yeah, I think we all have. And I think that's why this conversation is so very important, because we've paid a price. We've paid a price for mistakes. We've paid a price for We paid a price for what Pache is saying. We weren't taught. We paid a price for not really understanding who we are. I always say one of the best things besides God that you can give yourself is to know yourself. And the only way to know yourself is to sit
Sit
with
by
yourself
yourself. That's
and
right.
and look in the mirror and don't, I don't like this about me, but I like this about me. I want to face this, I want to change this. But what happens is people become finger pointers. And he said, and he did, and he, you know, and women, sometimes we don't turn the finger on ourselves. Like, you know, I remember that broke down marriage I was in, right? 7 years of the madness. And I always, to this day, I say, oh, 95% of it was him. 95. I'm not owning nothing but 5%. But one day the Holy Spirit said, well, you know, 5% could corrupt the whole pie. So just because he was 95, that 5%, you got to get right. You got to own it, the 5%. You got to fix the 5% that's in you that's off. And when that reality check came, it was like, that's right. Because I still say 95%. But I mean, I'll take the 5%. Yeah. But what the point is, I knew that I needed to fix me. I knew that I needed to go and get, and I went to Christian counseling, right? Because, you know, our people sometime back in the day, oh, you crazy if you go to a psychiatrist, or you crazy if you go to a counselor, or you crazy, you know. I'm so glad that has changed in our era. We're going to a counselor or a coach or whatever. It's so upfront now that it's open. It's open. Oh, I have a coach. Oh, I have a counselor. Oh, I have. Before it was hush, hush. Don't say that. Right. Mm-hmm. But facing yourself and facing the issues that get you in these traps, because here's the thing, being in love with two people, eventually you're going to run into yourself. Somebody's got to go.
Yeah.
The decision has to be made. Let's see what Antoinette says here. She says, go ahead and read it, Pache.
It's so hard to gauge when you don't have a point of reference, making it easy to repeat patterns that aren't healthy. Very true. And that's what takes the life lesson longer. Than that, we have to learn, like, we can't beat up on ourselves. We can't beat up on ourselves for something we know or something we taught. The beauty of it is now we know. So going forward, we shift our mindsets.
Yeah.
Now we know where we're going. So, and I can say that because I had to learn that for myself. Stop beating up on yourself for something you didn't know. You weren't taught. You were clueless to it. So why are you putting this guilt on yourself and this shame on yourself?
Yeah, you had to get to that point.
No.
To forgive yourself.
Absolutely.
You had to get to that point to forgive yourself. Check this out. It says that for some people, seeking out a sexual outlet is where the cheating begins and ends. For others, it leads to developing real feelings for another, whether or not the affair is physically consummated. Remember, we're talking about that. You might be in an emotionally cold or distant relationship within which you have chosen to close your heart or never felt comfortable fully opening it in the first place. And then you meet someone who makes you feel safe, seen, and sexy. And with them, you become vulnerable, real, emotionally connected, and in love. That's a lot of situations. I know people have came into sessions and they've been married for a long time and the relationship is cold. I mean, flat cold now. There's absolutely, at one time, there was something going on. And that's why I always tell married couples or even people that are dating, you cannot omit date night. You cannot. You just can't. You can't sacrifice the date night.
And what I say is the same thing you did to get the person, you need to keep that somewhere in the rotation.
And it's in the rotation because it's work.
Relationships, period.
Is work.
Any relationship. Right. But now you have 3 together. Yes. That's extra work.
You see that scenario where it was fine, but then it became flatline, cold, whatever. So now we're talking about human beings. Your needs and your wants, they are going to be met in a good way or a bad way. And then someone comes along out the clear blue. You know, as believers, we'd be like, the enemy done sent me somebody, and I know this thing is wrong. and put it on the enemy now. The enemy don't sit, the
But
devil
it's
don't sit.
you. Those your feelings.
The devil don't send somebody over here. Now, the devil does strategically try to corrupt anything we do, but we are responsible for what we answer to, right?
Right.
And if you're emotionally weak, and because we're emotional beings,
Mm-hmm.
it'll draw you in if it look good and sound good. What's stopping you? What can stop you? Because at home, the person that got so used to you. And one thing that happens, I find in relationships that draw women and men, is that you begin to be taken for granted.
Granted.
When you start take, I could speak. Look, we talking to the choir, because when you start taking me for granted, there is a problem. No, there is a huge
Mm-hmm.
problem. Once I get the whiff that you are taking me for granted, that sends a signal that something really, really, you've gotten too comfortable.
Comfortable.
I'm like a slice of bread.
Mm-hmm.
And get it low, go get me a piece of bread out that loaf there.
Not out the loaf.
Out the loaf, out the loaf.
A mess. Yeah,
So
but it's a messy situation. But even when you're in that situation and say you get tired of it, how do you get tired of it? How do you get out of it?
you get used to it because you're playing two people and you got the best of both worlds. You got your husband and the bills paid in your home, and you got this side piece over here that's giving you all the wonderful emotional things that you love and you need. And neither one of them know. Well, the side piece might know you married, but he don't really care, or she don't really care. So then how long do you play this game?
It's up to you to when you want to leave.
Mm, What about, okay, well, I know we can't go here because by this time, the soul tie has started.
Right. So, and that's when it goes to, it feels like a death when you have to part.
Mm,
You literally have to go through the stages of healing. You have to honor how you feel. You have to be
mm,
accountable for the part you played in it. You have to accept where you are, accept where the relationship is going, that it's dying and it's fading out, and you have to get your emotions in check. But all relationships, when they end, it feels like a death. So now you're dealing with that.
that is
That
true.
means if you got to cry at night, you got to cry in the shower, you got to reminisce and come back. You have to do those things to get through it.
Keep talking to the people. I did the same thing tonight that I did the other night.
Okay.
My charger. Keep talking.
Oh, yeah.
You guys forgive me.
So you have to honor your feelings and where you're at. And most importantly, put yourself first. Remember that you are the number one person. You are the person that's important, and never allow anyone to have their cake and eat it too on your back. So if you
Ooh.
are in that situation and you're tired of that situation, you have to know when to walk away. You have to know when enough is enough. Because here's the thing, if someone is having their cake and eating it too with the ice cream, they're not going to end it because they're getting everything they want on both sides.
You did not just say and the ice cream.
Oh yeah, and the ice cream.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
dessert
here's the
right
thing,
there.
why would you end it if you're getting everything you need? If you're getting this 50% from this person and another 50% from this person, why would you end it? All your needs are being met. So it's up to the individual, whether that be the woman or the man that doesn't want to be in that situation no more. They determine the outcome of that situation.
Do you
As hard
know?
as it may be.
Do you know there are many, many people who have been in these type of triangle situations for over 20, 30 years?
Mhm.
Some of it, I mean, we touched a little bit about different cultures that have more than one wife.
Yeah, you gotta save that for down the line because yeah.
I'm saying we have talked
Yeah,
about the different cultures that it is their
it's
custom,
acceptable.
it's their
Right.
custom to have more than one wife or a girlfriend, or I mean, I threw out the comment about the pimp, right?
Yeah.
you got pimps with a stable of women. You got 8 girls in this beautiful house with this one man who's their pimp, and they love him. All of them love him. They have different nights with him, and neither they're happy. they call them their wife-in-laws and my sister, and when they
Yeah,
think they're in love.
yeah. There was a show on HBO years ago called Big Love, and the
Hmm.
man was married to three women, and all the houses were connected. And I'll never forget one episode. It was say Susie's night. He stayed at Susie's house, but he had to get up and go to work. But he had to go back to Linda's place to get his shoes because he left the shoes. It was just a crazy. It's still on. It's called Big Love. It's on HBO, and all the houses were connected. The kids and everybody played together and everything. But like we said, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah,
But I
but
mean, if the three people are in agreement with it, it's fine. It
well,
becomes messy when the other person doesn't know.
well, guess what? I
The
would
person.
not be in that club. I
Oh
ain't
no,
doing
that's
no
not for
three
me.
people. No,
That's not for me. But there are relationships out there where it's acceptable and all parties are in on it.
I know. I'll keep certain thoughts with that to myself. But
Okay.
yeah, that is true. That is true. So, um, what does it mean to be in love with someone? What is love?
Well, I
Can
can,
anybody answer that? Because I've asked that question a lot of times, and I've heard other people talk about it. And says you can't define love with a word. You can't
and not only
define
that,
it.
everybody's definition of love is different.
That's my point. Yeah.
Everybody's definition of love is different.
Mm. In the chat, what do you guys think about being in love with two people? Somebody talk to us. Let's see. Anne wrote, nope,
Nope.
I
I
have.
have no idea.
She said, I have. She corrected the have.
I know.
Anybody else? What is your thought about it? Have you ever, I know you're not going to just say, yes, you have, but have you known anyone who has been in love with two people at the same time? I can't love one, let alone two.
These girls are best.
Oh my God. So let's talk about the difference between being in love or having a crush, or being in love with two people simultaneously is certainly not the most common thing. It requires a depth of feeling and investment in romantic relationships that can be difficult to most people to maintain for more than one person at a time. It is work.
Listen,
Yes.
I said before, I don't know how men deal with all these different women because I can't even deal with me. So you have all these different women with these different emotions, and you wonder why you stressed. That's too much.
It's too much.
It's too
It's too
much.
much. I
But
think, go
I
ahead.
want to hear somebody in the chat. Would you love intimacy over sex or sex over intimacy?
Well, that's a good question. Let's see what Leslie say while they think about that. Unhealthy relationships, you have to love yourself and know that you deserve the very best for yourself. It all stems from the love of self. Right. But you have to get to that place.
Yeah.
And like we're talking about, and it's good we're having this conversation because we can say we've not always been at that place because we've had some knuckleheads in our lifetime. We've had, I mean, everyone has not had a toxic relationship, but I don't know too many women that haven't had. Now, I do have a few people and a few women that I know that married their childhood sweetheart, their college boyfriend, and that's the only one they've ever been with. And I mean, those are rare and in between wonderful relationships. So I love hearing those type of love stories. But also depending on where you were raised, again, the home, like Pache say, the culture, environment, where you were, where you grew up, what was going on inside of your own home. What did you see, as Pache say, as what was called love? And a lot of us saw you know, a lot. I guess I could name a few shows on that from TV, but then Pache could name a few shows from TV. Each generation gets these TV families that we see growing up that shows supposed to show what family looks like and what love really is. But ask that question again because I want somebody. Okay, wait. So Anne answered the question. Intimacy over sex all day because we can connect on an emotional level, not just physical. Amen.
That's what I was hoping people would say out there.
Amen. Ask the question again. Maybe somebody else will answer.
Which would you prefer, intimacy over sex or sex over intimacy?
Yeah, that's a good question. That really is because you got to know yourself, right? I know I've had friends that say, look, give me sex all day long. Forget all that intimacy because that's how they were wired. That's what is important to them.
Mm-hmm.
They're highly strong sexually. So
Right.
for them, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the intimacy came secondary. So again, like you said, it depends on the person. So sometimes the question is asked, have you ever been in love? Have you ever been in love?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, at the time what I thought love was, I had a distorted definition of love.
Okay. That's fair.
So
That's
but
fair.
now, no, because it wasn't love.
I like that. I like that answer because it's honest. It's authentic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the whole thing. That's so good. That's so rich because sometimes you have to go through relationships and life has to happen for you to find out the jewel of what love is or what you thought it was and find out that really wasn't it
And your definition of love and what you're looking for, so you don't settle and compromise for something else
anymore.
anymore, right? And you're putting yourself out there,
That's
going
so
the
that's
extra
so
mile,
important, Pache.
trying to make somebody else happy when you're dying on the inside because that's
That's
not really who you
so
are.
honest. Right there is the right there. Dum 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 dum. Hey, I wish I had a Hammer B3. Oh, look, you know what? Right there is the answer. Is a big answer that'll cause people and women to not stray. That honesty.
Oh yeah. and
That
and
and I'm saying that honesty in what you said in that honest statement. What I thought and what I know is and what I that whole trial and everything brought you to a place of call now to
right.
let you see, you know, like you know, it's like I got it.
Absolutely.
I understand this thing. I got it. And
Right.
the wonderful thing is not you're not bruised, you're not wounded, you're healed, you're whole. You got
And
to a
even
place, yeah,
and even to get to this point, like I said, you have to take that hard look in the mirror at yourself,
not a soft look, a
and
hard look,
a hard look,
not the
and
cute one, the
no,
hard.
and say like, you that jacked up is not everybody else. Because like you said earlier, 95% was him. I ain't get me. It was 100% him. Had nothing to do with me. So all you, but
So you was a real finger pointer. You ain't never turned that finger on yourself.
why would I? Because here's the thing, I was doing everything, washing, cooking, cleaning. I was home. I didn't go out in it. But the part I played in it, you allowed it to let the
Yeah.
other person think it was okay.
Mm.
So I did. I played a big part in it, of it, more so than he did, because he was being who he was.
And let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
With all of that wonderful thing that you was, this beautiful person, was he a cheater?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Because he had everything he needed. He didn't have to do anything.
Not only that, his definition of love
Mm.
was gifts. So if I'm buying and I'm paying
Oh
the
my,
bills and
my,
I'm
my.
doing this,
Yes.
what's your problem?
Gifts. I bought you everything. Look at this house. Look at this
Ninja,
furniture.
you stayed out all week. What are we talking about? You could take all the stuff. Like, what are we talking about right now?
Priorities, man. Like it's like
Right. But again, his definition of love, because that's what he was taught.
he
That's
was
what he saw. That's what
right.
he learned. I can do whatever I want to do as long as I'm paying bills and taking care of the household.
Because that's the man thing.
because that gives me a license. What's your
That's
problem?
right.
But until
Right.
you say, no, that's not my definition of love,
Right.
like, no, maybe that's for somebody else, but it's not for me.
Right.
But you have to do
So-
the work and look, like, why are you accepting these things? Why are you, and you're dying, literally dying on the inside.
right. Wow. And see, and by saying that, then that becomes that triangle. You're home doing all the things. He's buying everything. You're living, you have anything and everything you want. And he's outside doing something with someone he doesn't love, but he say he loves you.
That's why I said, why would I leave? I'm getting everything I need and
Right.
want.
Right.
Why would I leave this triangle? I have the best of both worlds.
Right. But your
I would
heart,
be a fool to leave this.
that's what you thought.
No, I'm saying for him.
For him. Oh, for him. Yes,
He's
absolutely.
saying, why would I leave this?
Let's
I
see
have
what
the best of
Leslie is
both worlds.
saying.
Why would I leave? Yeah.
What's she saying, Pache?
I really can't say that I've ever been in love because it seems I was just looking to be loved and not be alone in life. Your loneliness will do that to you.
Yes,
Because
that
you
is a big one, Leslie. Yes, that's a big one for women, for us. Yes, that's a big one.
And it's hard. You got to ride the loneliness out.
Ooh, that'll preach.
You got to ride it out. And I mean, those lonely days, it's the crying days, while I'm by myself, woe is me, the pity party. You got to do all that to realize, okay, I'm enough.
I'm worth more.
And it takes time. Like for me, I was by myself when I left this person for about 2 years. Ninja Pache. I was by myself for about 2 years. And I started to learn me. I started going to the movies by myself. I started going to eat by myself.
Yes.
That's what I liked it.
Yes.
No, I don't need
you got to know yourself.
Right. What I like.
Spend time with yourself.
Right.
Why do women think we always need somebody in our space? Not just that. Women say, I've heard, again, a lot of sessions I've had, women be like, well, I need a body in my bed. Huh?
Get you about 12.
Anybody? I mean, like
12 pillows. You'll be all right.
What you said?
Get yourself about 12 pillows. You'll
12
be all right.
pillows. Just put them everywhere. You need a body. I was like, so you have a body, and the body that's in your bed is an abusive body, is a disrespectful body. So what are you saying? Yeah, but I'm lonely. It's like, oh my God, no. That's a lot of work. See, women.
And here's a good thing to learn before we get out of here. Tidbit: feelings are fleeting. You will feel up one day like you don't need anybody, and the next day you be like, oh, I'm lonely. The next day you be like, oh, I'm good.
Right.
Got to get your emotions in check. We have to become emotionally intelligent.
You got to sometimes you can't do it by yourself, depending on where you've been, what you've been through, what kind of relationship you've been in, because a lot of women are in, especially COVID. We got to talk about that down the line too. So make a mental note of all the domestic violence relationships that have sprung up since COVID. People that were so-called in love was stuck in the house together with themselves and found out they don't really like each other. Because when COVID wasn't around, they were like fleeting ships in the night. They went to work, she went to Canada. So they didn't have to sit with each other. But boy, this COVID has raised the bar with domestic violence in a terrible way. So we have so much to talk about on our Relationship Tuesdays. There's some of you on here right now. I want you to hit that thumbs up. Remember, I'm in these YouTube streets. And I need you to hit the thumbs. You know your mother.
Yeah, hit the thumbs up, y'all. And I just want to say
and hit subscribe if you haven't subscribed already.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, all of that.
All that. And just remember, you are the love you want, the love you give, and the love you seek.
Yes.
That's what you'll attract to you.
Absolutely. This was so awesome. We will be back on next Tuesday. But before we go, next time you bring your cool beverage, you got to bring your cool beverage, right?
Okay.
You could be whatever you want it to be. but just bring your cool beverage. We're going to chop it up some more. We're going to really get deep into it's so much. I'm so excited about this topic. We're going to get deep into some things. We're going to go in some areas where people have to maybe plug their ears up. Maybe, I don't know. I got to be careful on YouTube. I don't want them blocking me and stopping me. So we have to be careful, but we're good. We're good. So take that right hand, that left hand, place it on your heart, your mind, and your soul. All of you in the chat, listen, let me just say thank you. Let me say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks for chatting with us. Thank you for being here with me and Coach Pache. We will see you on next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Text a friend, call a friend. Just tell them. Relationship Tuesday is the bomb diggity. I know that's old.
Not the bump.
I'm dating myself. Okay, you stay right there. I'm saying goodnight to the guests. All right, you wonderful people
Good
out
night.
there. I love you so much. And stay tuned of more of Bravo with Sheila. Ciao.